It's 1647 in Venzone, and a corpse refuses to rot. A man pries open his father's grave for the second time. He finds the body whole, dried, and grinning. The skin is brown and tight, like old leather. The corpse weighs almost nothing in his arms. In this town, the dead simply will not decay. Venzone clings to a valley in the Italian Alps. Stone walls ring a cathedral and a tight cluster of houses. For centuries, it guarded the road into the north. Beneath its cathedral lies a small, cold chapel. This chapel of St. Michael holds a terrible secret. Its floor opens into a deep burial vault. When a grave is needed, an old body comes up. But the old body comes up dried, not rotted. Its flesh has turned to something like cured hide. The face is sunken, yet the features still hold. The lips draw back over yellowed, intact teeth. The eyes are gone, but the sockets stare on. Thin hair still clings to the parchment scalp. The fingers curl, the nails still in place. These are not skeletons, but whole dried people. The townsfolk give them a strange new name. They call each one simply a gobbo, a hunchback. Drying pulls the bodies into a hunched curl. The shoulders rise and the spine bows over. So the mummies seem forever frozen, mid-bow. The living of Venzone do not fear these dead. Instead, the families come down to visit them. They greet a grandfather pulled from the soil. They speak to him as though he can still hear. On feast days, they carry the gobby outdoors. Dried relatives are propped up at the table. A long-dead father sits among his living children. They are treated as protective family spirits. People believe the gobby guard the house from harm. Some keep a mummy by the hearth for years. A bride once knelt before her dead grandmother. She asked the dried woman for a quiet blessing. The dead are not hidden here. They are honored. And the question is always the same. How? How can flesh last centuries underground? Why does Venzone refuse to let its dead rot? The answer hides in the stone and the air. First, the limestone vault stays bone dry. Cool mountain air drifts steadily through it. The graves are shallow, cut into porous rock. Moisture wicks away before decay can begin. A corpse dries out faster than it can putrefy. But dryness alone does not explain it all. Scientists searched the tombs for another cause. They found a pale fungus on the buried wood. Its threads spread across the coffin timbers. The fungus is named Hypha bombicina. It grows in fine white threads like silk. The mold creeps over the freshly buried bodies. It draws the water out of the dead flesh. Drinking the moisture, it dries them like a sponge. In months, the body is parched and rigid. The fungus mummifies what it touches. Together, dry air and mold preserve the dead. It is a slow, silent, natural mummification. No embalming, no spices, no ritual hand. Just the patient chemistry of the tomb itself. Over the years, the gobby steadily multiplied. Each new burial that dried joined the rest. By the 1700s, dozens lined the vault. Travelers came to gawk at the standing dead. Word of the dry corpses spread across Europe. Famous visitors descended into the chapel. Even Napoleon's soldiers came to see them. They marveled at faces 3 centuries old. A scientist once carried a gobbo to Vienna. He studied the dry flesh and the silent fungus. Always the bodies kept their strange, dry calm. The town came to see them as part of itself. Children grew up knowing the dried ancestors. Death in Venzone felt close, almost gentle. The dead lingered instead of disappearing. And then the modern world arrived to count them. By the 20th century, there were many gobby. Researchers numbered and measured each one. They confirmed the fungus and the dry stone. 21 of the mummies were carefully kept. The rest had crumbled over the long centuries. The survivors became the town's grim treasure. Then, on a spring morning, the ground shook. In 1976, a massive earthquake tore through Friuli. The Venzone earthquake leveled the old town. The cathedral above the crypt collapsed in dust. Stone walls that stood for centuries fell. Hundreds of people died in the falling town. The chapel of the mummies was crushed flat. Rescuers feared the gobby were lost forever. They dug through the rubble for the dry dead. Slowly, the mummies were pulled from the ruins. Many survived the collapse almost untouched. The fragile dried bodies were carried to safety. The whole town was rebuilt stone by careful stone. Venzone rose again exactly as before, and the chapel was raised once more for its dead. The mummies returned to their cold home. Today, the surviving Gabi rest in glass cases. They stand again in the chapel of St. Michael. Visitors still climb down to look at them. The dried faces gaze out through clear glass. Each body holds the shape it dried into. Their leathery skin is brown and tight as ever. Some still seem to bow toward the living. One is known fondly as the Hunchback of Venzone. Another was a noblewoman dead for ages. Her dried hands are folded across her chest. Visitors lower their voices near her case. These are not statues, but real people. They lived, worked, and died in this valley. Now they are the town's oldest residents. The fungus that dried them still lingers near. Scientists keep studying its quiet power. They probe how it draws life's water away. The bodies remain a puzzle of stone and spore. Tests on the dried flesh continue even now. The dry skin still yields its ancient secrets. Each gobbo is a person paused, not erased. Their stories were nearly lost to time, but the dry valley refused to forget them. Most lie unnamed, their lives long gone, yet their dried bodies still speak of them. We read hunger and toil in the shrunken frames. We read their age in the dried, tightened bones. Each face is a window into a vanished town. Children once played beneath these very streets. Farmers and weavers became the silent Gabi. Their descendants may still live in the town. Some families can name a mummy as their own. The line between living and dead grows thin here. In Venzone, the dead never truly departed. They simply dried and stayed behind. The same cold air still moves through the stone. The same dry rock still cradles new graves. The same fungus waits in the buried wood. So Venzone may make mummies even today. The conditions that dried the Gabi endure. Beneath the rebuilt town, the process goes on. The valley keeps its strange gift for the dead. And the Gabi keep their patient, bowing watch. They have outlasted plagues, wars, and an earthquake. They will likely outlast us as well. The dried dead of Venzone do not rest. They wait, leathery and patient, in the cold. You can climb down and meet them right now. They stand in the chapel exactly as they dried, brown, bowed, and grinning across the centuries.